Rev it up and welcome to Cars Yeah, show number 2122 this week on Cars Yeah. We're celebrating the Quail, a motorsport gathering. It takes place Friday, August 19th at the Quail Lodge and Golf Club. To learn more about this iconic event, go to the PeninsulaSignatureEvents.com. I hope to see you there. Be prepared to be inspired.
This is Cars Yeah, where you'll enjoy interviews with inspiring automotive enthusiasts. Mark Green is here to provide you with a fuel injection of automotive inspiration. So get in, sit down, buckle up, and get ready for a wild ride here on Cars Yeah.
Hello, inspiring automotive enthusiasts, and welcome to Cars Yeah. Today I'm in beautiful Ontario, Canada, with a very special guest by the name of Raj Dasgupta. Raj, welcome to Cars Yeah. Do you have any gear, and are you ready to release the clutch?
Awesome. Thanks, Mark. Looking forward to it.
Now, as I say that, I'm thinking, wait a minute. We're going to be talking about EVs. There's no clutches in these cars. So maybe there's something else I should ask you. And before I give you an introduction, this is it. What's one little thing that most people don't know about you, Raj?
One little thing that most people don't know? It's a good question. There's probably quite a few things. But so, yeah, I actually do enjoy creative writing. Has nothing to do with cars or batteries or anything like that. But I do like to, or when I used to have more time on my hands, to do a bit of writing.
Yeah. Were you one of these kids that did journaling?
A little bit of journaling and just coming up with stories. I think all my life I've had a fairly wild imagination, and writing was a good way of expressing that. Work as well, in technology or in batteries technology and any of these subjects, having a wild imagination helps.
Well, that's a great segue to your introduction, because I was thinking that we are moving into a bit of a renaissance here with electric vehicles, I believe. I think this is a major turning point when you think of the combustion engine for the last 100 plus years and what's really happening super fast right now. The future's here. It's happening. It's coming, whether we like it, don't like it, understand it, don't understand it, whatever. So to be a creative writer and having a wild imagination, kind of what is required when you're an entrepreneur in a new technology, right?
Oh, for sure. You have to be able to come up with new ideas that hopefully someone else is not thinking about, but also executing on those ideas. That's actually the harder part.
No kidding. Yeah. Versus writing it down. Yeah.
Versus writing it down.
Absolutely. Well, that's very cool. The creative side, left brain, right brain. Well, let me give you a proper introduction. Raj Dasgupta is the CEO at Electrovaya. It's a company focused on new battery technology in the automotive space. They are a lithium-ion technology company dedicated to accelerating the energy transition with better and safer batteries for electric vehicles. Raj has worked in the lithium-ion battery space for over 10 years and today leads Electrovaya in creating lithium-ion and solid-state battery solutions for all types of vehicles with a focus on safety, longevity, performance, and lower cost. Raj will also be speaking at PlugVolt Battery Seminar later this year. Maybe we'll learn a little bit about that. So we'll be back in just a moment, but first a word from our sponsors. So give them a little love. Hang tight. We're moving into the future here. We'll be right back. Summer is here, and that means long, hot days. Oh boy. Covercraft's UVS custom sunscreens are quality made and are incredibly fast and easy to use. Your UVS sunscreen is custom tailored for your vehicle, and their accordion design ensures easy storage. Not only do they protect your dash and interior for maximum protection while parking in the sun, sunscreens keep your vehicle's interior significantly cooler. They are durable, they're dependable for years of use. I have one for all my vehicles. Every time I park my car, my Covercraft sunscreen goes up in the window. You can choose from a variety of colors, including the original, Premier Series, and Carhartt designs. Your sunscreen is manufactured with the quality and attention to detail that's been the standard for Covercraft since 1965. And they make a really great gift as well. Get your summer deal today. Use the code YEAH21, YEAH21 at covercraft.com and you'll get 10% off your Covercraft order. That's right, 10% off. Use the code YEAH21 at checkout. Covercraft, protecting the things that move you. Most people don't think about their collector car insurance until their annual premium becomes due. Well, why wait and see if there are better options for your beloved rides? I didn't. Did you know if you change carriers before your policy runs out, your insurance company has to refund you the unearned portion of your policy premium? I did my homework, I shopped around, and I found American Collectors Insurance. They've been protecting collector vehicles since 1976. I encourage you to call my friends at American Collectors Insurance. Ask them about their agreed value policy. And if your collector vehicle is on your regular auto policy, you will be shocked at the savings, not to mention the assurance, should something bad happen to your ride, that you'll get what your vehicle is actually worth. Give them a call today for a quote at 866-ACI-YEAH. That's 866-224-9324. Tell them you're a friend of Mark Green at Cars Yeah! American Collectors Insurance. Classic car insurance designed by collectors for collectors. Automotive enthusiasts just like you and me. That's American Collectors Insurance. Give them a call today. So Raj, we are back. So let's talk about your journey into electrification and automobiles and battery. I want to go back a little bit first before we talk about what you're doing today. How did you get involved in this field?
So, batteries has been in my life for a much longer time than I've worked at Electrovaya. So I've worked at Electrovaya for 13 years. If you just keep going backwards, before that I completed a PhD in electrochemistry, which is battery related. I had started that at MIT with a pretty well known gentleman in this field named Donald Sadoway, who's a wonderful man and someone you should get on your show because he's also a car guy.
Yeah. Oh, cool. Okay.
Donald Sadoway is a big name in the battery space. Then I moved to the University of Cambridge in England, where I completed my PhD with another great electrochemist, Professor Derek Frey, who's not a car guy, but was a battery guy.
Okay.
So all along then, I've been very, very interested in lithium-ion batteries. Then I joined Electrovaya, which was a company my father and a gentleman named Jim Jacobs founded a long time back. Together, those guys have always been keen to electrify wheels. So I remember being 10 years old in their company. Back then was making ceramics. And they had an electric little go-kart inside the building, which they had put a battery in. It was something fantastic. Then my mom actually worked with some local enthusiasts up in Toronto. I think this was in the late 90s, mm-hmm. And they converted one of our old favorite cars, which was a Suzuki Samurai, 1988 Suzuki Samurai, into being an electric vehicle. So that was pretty exciting. I was actually very, very early into having an electric vehicle in the house. So
you think about now and today in electric vehicles, they're coming on fast. And I want to talk a little bit about Electrovaya and your involvement. And first question I have for you is what it's like building and being involved in some of these first electric vehicles. You mentioned being there for 13 years and having been in electric go-kart way back when with your dad, but how are you seeing the industry right now? Because it is coming on so quickly that it's almost moving too fast in some respects. What's your perspective?
Oh, it's fantastic. Every day I read articles, and more people are this is becoming so mainstream now. It's so exciting to see. But when I joined the company 13 years ago, it was not mainstream. It was something that people were dreaming of, and it's coming on so fast. But looking back, we had some of the early pioneering work done with with Chrysler. We built a plug-in hybrid battery system for them. These vehicles didn't end up going into production, but 200 or so were made in 2010. Chrysler had made it in partnership with the Department of Energy and us. They decided to make 2 plug-in hybrid models. One was the Dodge Ram. We'd made, I think, 140 Dodge Ram plug-in hybrid vehicles, and then another 60 or 80 of the minivan.
Oh, wow. And that was all the way back then.
That was all the way back then. Unfortunately, they didn't go into production then. Now it's a different story. I'm sure those types of vehicles are moving forward. So we had worked with them. We'd also done a full electric car with Tata Motors, which was initially launched in Norway. Again, this was, I would say, before the market, before the market evolved. Again, today is a different story, but this is 2009, 2010. So Tata Motors, we'd done some work. Even with ExxonMobil, of all companies, we had worked with them on a low-speed vehicle car-sharing program at the Science Center in Baltimore. So we had about 10, 15 electric small cars that we had built for them. So Electrovaya's history in the EV space, is significant. Most of it has been sort of before the market came up. So sort of unfortunate in that sense, but we're still here, and we're still involved heavily. So if you look in 2015 to 2017 or so, we were supplying Daimler's electric smart cars. Our German subsidiary was supplying them with some very exciting technology, including some firsts. Like we were using some unique technologies there, like a full ceramic separator membrane, which even today isn't used in the EV space. Really, it gives these batteries much higher safety performance.
You touch on an important thing there, and I wanted to ask you about this because we could talk for hours about what's going on, but the importance of the life cycle or and the increased safety standards in the current car market, these seem to be really key factors. And if you think back to when the horse and buggy were kind of going away, people were scared of this vehicle combustion engine having this, they didn't use gasoline back then, but eventually they did, and this explosive device, and wouldn't it blow up and cause all these problems? In the current market of electric vehicles, the life cycle of a battery seems to be really important, and of course safety standards within battery use and so forth. How are you guys approaching that, or what are your thoughts on that?
So we specialize in making extremely long cycle life lithium-ion batteries. So if you took one of our batteries and put it in your car would get several million miles of life before the battery
million
conked out.
Wow.
Over a million, like several million. Because, I drive an electric vehicle to work every day, which is a BMW i3, which is a cool little car. But I'll do one cycle on that battery in a week.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Which is about 1 hour of driving a day. It's pretty typical. In fact, it's probably above average. And so one cycle a week, which means I'll do, let's say 50 cycles a year, right? So, and if you want that car to last 10 years, you need it to do 500. If you want it to do 20 years, 1,000 cycles. That's what that battery needs to do. The batteries that Electrovaya makes, the cells will go for about 10,000 cycles before they reach their end of life. So 10,000 cycles, that would be what, way longer than that vehicle's going to last. Right?
Well, yeah.
Way.
Yeah.
So in terms of an application, yes, we can put it in an electric vehicle, and yes, that battery's going to last forever. That said, we wanted to find applications where the vehicles would run harder than a typical passenger electric vehicle. And we looked around, and actually the application that runs the hardest is one that you don't see day to day, and that's inside warehouses. So the electric forklifts, which will have similar size batteries to your typical electric vehicle, they will run 24 hours a day. They'll run 3 shifts. They never stop. If you go to your standard Walmart distribution center or someone like that, these vehicles are nonstop running. And so they actually need batteries that can cycle 10,000 cycles because they will find a way to run it that hard. So that technology is a very, very good fit for these sort of, I would say, heavy-duty applications. Even a taxi, for instance, would be a good fit.
And how about the trucking industry, too? I think about these big trucks out on the roadways. I know Tesla's got their big semi-truck that they're producing now, I believe. But I think about those. Those things are on the road all the time compared to your and my vehicle, which basically takes us somewhere and then sits most of the day, right?
Exactly. Trucking. So if I had to rank the heaviest usage, number one would be forklifts and, let's say, robots, because they're also, running around. Number two would be trucks and buses.
That's right, yeah.
They're about similar usage. So, those are the applications that Electrovaya wants to apply, is focused on for this technology. This technology we refer to as our infinity battery technology because it lasts essentially forever. So it's a very interesting technology. It's not meant to be, it's slightly more expensive to produce than more standardized lithium-ion batteries, which is why we're not so focused on the passenger electric vehicle space. But it has lots of cool applications for it.
How do you see the auto industry changing currently in its relationship to the battery industry? Because the battery industry has been around. As you said, your family's company's been around for a long time, but batteries have been around since the beginning of, the first cars were electric cars. A lot of people don't realize that. You think about Porsche's first design car was an electric vehicle. But how do you see this relationship shifting and adjusting right now with battery industry and automotive industry? Because they're merging at a very fast pace.
So the battery industry both of them are moving very, very quickly. And I think you're going to see new models come up which are going to disrupt things, right? So on the battery space, lithium-ion technology has evolved batteries typically evolve slowly, right? So lead-acid batteries, invented more than 100 years ago, still being used and still a big industry, right? So it evolved very slowly. Lithium-ion batteries, which came out in the 1990s, have been evolving rapidly. There's thousands of very smart individuals around the world working very hard to improve lithium-ion batteries, working on the chemistry, working on next generation things like we are as well. And so that technology is moving quite quickly. And as that advances, it continues to disrupt the applications. So I'll give you an example. We have a division of Electrovaya, which we call Electrovaya Labs, which is just a big lab. There we're working on our next-gen lithium-ion technology, which would be what people generally refer to as solid-state batteries. So that could be a game changer. I mean, it could be much higher energy density, almost twice the energy density of your standard lithium-ion cells.
Twice?
So
wow.
On a volumetric basis, it's about twice. So it opens up new applications potentially. So you could make a very high-performance, lightweight electric vehicle. There's already high-performance electric vehicles. All of them are high-performance.
Sure.
The weight has been, a question mark. So suddenly you could reduce the weight quite substantially, or increase the range even further. Or you could even electrify things that you hadn't considered that were possible, right? Like, let's say, an electric airplane.
Or boats.
Or boats, or very long distance trucking. It could be another big step forward.
Well, and I think of another one is trains. You think about how much cargo is moved around this country alone, much less other countries, and people on trains, which do they even make electric? I mean, they make electric streetcars, but I'm talking about long range hauling trains that are typically.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. Good point. Trains would be a potential another one. Yeah. I don't see why not.
Do you see these solid state batteries? It sounds like to me they're going to, excuse the pun, accelerate this transition in the electric car market probably much faster than what we've seen with lithium ion or other battery type power plants for automobiles. This seems like what the future is, coming down pretty quick, right?
It's coming down pretty quick. There are a lot of companies, including ourselves, who are working on it. However, to date, no one has commercialized it. Let's put it that way. And electric vehicles with more conventional chemistries are already being deployed rapidly, right? So your Tesla or whatever electric vehicle out there is already pretty good. And I don't see the conventional technology being a limiting factor per se. But you always want something better, right? So,
always.
Solid state would be a little better.
Absolutely. We're going to take a short break. We come back. I want to talk a little bit about the challenges, as if there aren't a lot of challenges in any industry, but this industry with the rapid pace of the technology. But sit tight. We'll thank our sponsors here, and we'll be right back. You listeners know that I'm a huge car care fanatic, and my friends at AutoGeek created their Wolfgang Deep Gloss Paint Sealant for perfectionists like you and me. Wolfgang, a deep gloss paint sealant, is designed to provide long-lasting protection and a glossy, slick finish that, well, it's unmatched. The use of polymer technology ensures your paint is protected from environmental contaminants, those damaging UV rays, and lasts up to 3 months long. By providing the glossy look of carnauba wax with the longevity of a synthetic formula, Wolfgang A Deep Gloss Paint Sealant is the best of both worlds. Go to autogeek.net to get yours for the best product selection on the internet today, along with their skilled technical support. Autogeek.net is where I go for all my detailing needs. That's autogeek.net. Linkage. It's a new quarterly publication and website that covers the automotive market, driving, restoring, collecting, and discovering your passion for motor vehicles. Linkage is about experiences, opinions, and values. Linkage is an actual informed, reasoned opinion based on first-hand experiences. A talented linkage team covers the automotive world, the people who share your passion and mine, smart, considered, rational, and experienced opinions, ones you can learn from and grow. That includes our passion that drives auctions and the collector car market. So come with me and join us on this journey. And be sure to use the code CARSYEAH when you subscribe, and they'll give you $10 off. Boom! Linkage, geared for the automotive life. Subscribe today at linkagemag.com. We all count on skilled auto technicians to ensure that our families and ourselves are safe on the road. That an airplane will get me safely to my destination, that trucks are moving the stock to shelves of essential parts and things that we need. That's why TechForce Foundation's slogan is so appropriate. When techs rock, America rolls. I love that. TechForce is a charity of Cars Yeah, and like all charities, they need our support. If you love cars and can relate to the young person's desire to turn their passion into a career, go to techforce.org today and donate or become a volunteer. That's techforce.org. Let's talk about challenges, because we talked about some of the advantages of solid-state batteries, lithium-ion batteries, but what are some of the challenges, disadvantages that are part of this accelerated development of, let's say, solid-state batteries?
So with solid-state batteries, a lot of groups, research groups, companies, etc., have made solid-state batteries work, but in the lab, right? And they can make it in the lab and show that it gets good results, but these are generally very small cells that have, and they're making the electrolyte or the separator in a way that, whilst works, can't be mass-produced easily. And so the big challenge in this particular space, I would say, is on the science itself, but also a big part of the challenge is how to make it in scale, and how to make it cost-effective cost effectively such that it can be a displacing technology to more conventional methods. So that's the big challenge. Being a lithium-ion battery manufacturer already, we went the route of keeping the manufacturing process front and center for our approach to the technology. And I think that came with the gray hairs. I don't have too many, but the gray hairs of the company's history is beneficial there.
Yeah. Well, gray hair, I'll take any hair, any color. I don't have much of any left on my head, but gray's fine with me. If I could just have a little bit more, but I understand what you're saying. When we look at, or I should say when you look at your bucket list and we look out into the future, and it's dangerous, of course, to look too far out, but let's just say in the next 3 to 5 years, where do you see the electric vehicle market around the world? Or what would you like to see it as?
Well, I would like to see, and I think to be honest, I think it's going that way anyway. I'd like to see much higher adoption. I'd like to see differentiation in this market, though. One of the exciting things about cars is that they're different. Your Porsche engine sounds different than your BMW engine, and they have different personalities. I think that I'd like to see that happen with electric vehicles to some degree, and with respect to the batteries that they use. Maybe this car is going to have a battery that's a solid state battery, and it's going to be super light and super high performance, and then this other battery is going to be low cost, does the job kind of thing. I think I'd like to see some of that happening, and I think that will be the direction the industry ultimately goes in, because there has to be differentiation between expensive cars and cheap cars.
Right.
I'd like to see Electrovaya come back into the passenger EV space, because that's where our heart lies, and we want to do that through our solid state batteries. So I think our Infinity battery line has that beautiful niche of being that super long cycle life, high safety, fits that commercial heavy duty segment perfectly. But for us as a company to come back into the passenger EV space, we need something game changing. And Mark, I don't know if you know, but this industry is super competitive
yes.
with respect to costs, and it's hard. It's a hard business to be in.
Yeah, I've had a lot of people from your industry on the show, especially in the last year and a half. And that's where I just seeing more, I'm experiencing more and more people like you. And thank goodness we have folks like you and the teams around you that have the brain power to create this stuff, because for much of us, it's this magical sauce. It's kind of like plugging something into the wall and this power just magically comes out of the wall, and nobody thinks about where it originates, where it comes from, who developed it. And you go back to the first electrification of the first homes and cities, and how magical that must have been for people to just go, how is this happening? But it's exciting, and I'm glad we have people like you around. And it's a nice little segue into your personal passion for cars, Raj. I know you love cars, so has there been a special vehicle in your life that really stands out? If so, what is it? And share a story about that ride.
So I love cars. I've always loved cars. I spent a good deal of my chilling out time listening to folks like yourselves and other bloggers and video bloggers about cars. So it's just something I am passionate about. With regards to a story about a car, it wouldn't be a car that I loved very much, but it is a funny electric vehicle story.
Okay.
So I was one of the probably first buyers of the first generation Nissan Leaf.
Oh, yes.
I don't know if you remember that car.
I do, yeah.
So it was a 2011 or model year, I think. And that car did not have a correct size battery, especially for Canadian winters. I think it was about 20 kilowatt hours, give or take. And the chemistry wasn't, this is early days for electric vehicles.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
So I think this was the first mass-produced electric vehicle available. So, and I think it was one year in Ontario, we had something that you probably missed out west, but we had the polar vortex.
Oh, yes, I remember that. Yeah. Got very cold.
It got very cold, and I was driving that car to work every day. Not a huge commute, but that winter, if I ran the heater in the car, I wouldn't be able to get home.
Oh, wow. Hard to do in a polar vortex, not run the heater.
So I couldn't run the heater. So I would end up, because heaters now in electric cars are better. They usually have heat pumps or something. But this was a very inefficient heater, and it would just drain the battery. So I used to wear a full Canada Goose parka. And you know how you have the ice scraper to scrape the outside of your windows on a cold day. Well, I was driving the car with one hand and
scraping the inside of the windshield.
Exactly. I had the ice scraper scraping off the ice forming from my condensation.
Yeah.
So it was definitely an experience. I think. Not a great car. It was a good car, but it was
the beginning.
It was an early adopter's electric vehicle. Put it that way.
Absolutely. Yeah, my first electric vehicle I ever drove was the Volt. When they did a big launch here in the United States. In fact, the company I was with, they did a nationwide launch. They went to, I think, a dozen different cities, and they came to our facility first, which was really cool. We were the first ones to get to have them there, and we got to go out and drive them, and it was... it was kind of one of those experiences where you go, wow, this is like, where's the sound? I mean, I'm a car guy. I'm used to noises and stuff. And I thought, and this was probably, gosh, when did those come out? 15 years ago, maybe? Maybe longer. It was a while.
Yeah, it was about the same time as the Leaf. I think those two came in first.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to be your car psychologist here. Something probably nobody's ever attempted with you, Raj. At least I hope not. I'm going to crawl into your skull and ask you to answer this question. If you were reincarnated, a pun intended, as a vehicle, not what you want to be, but how you perceive yourself, your technology, the way you think, what would you be, but more importantly, why?
Well, that's a very interesting question. What would I want? It's what would I actually be?
Yeah, not what you want to be. Not what you want to be. It's you, the guy. What's in your head?
Well, what I'd want to be would be an electric Jaguar E-Type.
Well, why not? Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
But what would I actually be would probably be something more reliable.
Ouch.
Know.
Poor Jaguar, still suffering from that, Lucas Electronics and all of that type of stuff. But I'll tell you, I was at the Quail event back before COVID, and they had an electric Jaguar XKE, and the XKE is the car that started it for me, that drove my passion. Yeah. So what's Raj here? Reliable. What kind of vehicle would be a reliable? Got to be EV. I mean,
maybe the Jaguar electric. The electric cars are going to be more reliable. Nothing happens. So maybe that is the car.
E-Pace, or
I would say I'd like to be a electric E-Type.
Okay. Okay, that's okay. I can live with that, even though you kind of broke the rule here. That's what you want to be, but here's why I'm going to let you get away with that, Raj, because you are innovative. You're obviously a very smart man, creating things that you're taking this old school but bringing it into the future. So yeah, I mean, I've gotten on board more and more with companies that are taking these old classics and what I call outlaw cars. You think about Singer's Porsche, of course, reimagined Porsche. Even you have Emery building 356 cars. My old friend who used to be part of Electromechanica, which is building old Porsche 356s, but they were going to put electric vehicle or electric power plants in them. Is taking these old cars but making them new again with electricity. So, okay, I'll let you get away with that. All right.
Yep. I think that honestly, I think that's something I'm wanting to do too. It's the old cars that mention your sons and I in industrial design. The design of those is just unbelievable on the outside, at least. On the
inside,
and I think the engines
not so much.
The electrification of these things, it makes you probably. It would enable you to enjoy the vehicle more if you could drive it more.
Right. Yeah. There you go. Okay. I'll let you dodge that one a little bit, but I like it. How about a great book that you'd like to share with our listeners?
Oh, a great book. There's so many.
I know. Yeah. Well, maybe something recent you read. It doesn't have to be business related. It doesn't have to be EV related. It could just be something fun.
You know, one that I've read a few times, and it has, you know, some relationship with old cars, is Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I've always enjoyed that book.
My son gave me that book, and when I first started reading it, I had to read the first chapter over and over again. I'm like, what is going on here? This isn't what I thought.
Yeah.
Very much philosophical read. Not what I expected, but it's a great book.
It's not what the first time I read it, I think I read the first couple chapters multiple times.
I almost quit. I don't like this. What is going on? I even called him. My son is very well read, loves to read, and I said, "What is going on with this?" He goes, "Dad, just give it some time." It's a Robert Pirsig book, and not what you think it is based on the title. I think he tried to trick us all a little bit with that one.
He did.
Great,
but it is a good book.
Great book. Yeah, nice reference there. I didn't expect something like that from you. I love it. So I'm going to enable you to go on what I call the ultimate drive today. This is a fun concept. I'm going to buy you any car in the world, and I'm going to expand this thought process for you, Raj. It's even a car that you could create if you had unlimited budgets. Maybe we go back to that E-Type electrified. You can be with anybody, including somebody who's deceased, and you can be driving anywhere in the world. So what does it look like, this ultimate drive for you?
Ultimate drive. Let me give that a little bit of thought.
It's hard when there's no limits. It's like having a budget to build a home, but you have unlimited funds. Makes it almost, that paradox of choice makes it almost impossible to make a decision on anything.
So who would it be with? I would pick my old godfather who's passed. He was a car guy. He actually had a DB4.
Oh my gosh!
Aston Martin DB4.
Nice.
And unfortunately, we rarely got to go out in it because there's always something wrong with it. At one point, he was saying we should electrify this car.
Yes.
It would definitely be a drive with him. And he was from England, so I would say somewhere in England we'd be driving around. And I'd love to see it with that particular car, which I don't know who has it now, but it would be that particular car, which was a rust-colored DB4 with a Electrovaya solid-state battery.
There you go.
And a fast motor. That's what I'd like. Loved.
Well, there's some wonderful roads up north of England, Ireland, Scotland. I mean, some beautiful, beautiful roads up there that would be pretty cool. And to do it in a classic looking car like that, but something that was more powerful and maybe a little more reliable, probably. I don't want to poke too much fun at the British cars because I love them, but that sounds like a nice drive. Well, you've taken us on an incredible ride today, Raj. You're working on the future here for us, and I can't thank you enough for spending some time with me today. I'd love for you to come back sometime, but before then, could you share some words of inspiration, a mantra, a success quote with our listeners today? So,
this is 2022. There's a lot of difficult things happening right now in the world. But I'm an optimist. I'm so excited to see that cars are getting cleaner, electrification's happening. We have the technologies that are going to be mitigating climate change. I have two very young kids, and I think that they're going to appreciate the efforts and that our generation is now waking up to. So that's what I keep telling myself, to keep myself positive that we're ultimately going in the right direction. This is a long run, and sometimes there's some steps backwards. Right now, there's quite a few.
Yeah.
We as a society, I think, are becoming more enlightened, hopefully, and the technology will be there. We have to develop and implement the technologies to make the world a better place.
Yeah, sometimes life is like a game of chess. You got to move back a few spots. Sometimes you got to lose a few things to get forward. But we're in an interesting time, definitely a renaissance. How can people learn more about your company?
I guess listening to your podcast would be one start.
Thank you.
And then, they can always reach out to us. We're Jason Roy and myself, we generally make ourselves available to speak with people. We're getting the Electrovaya name out there a bit more. I've actually only been the CEO for about 6 weeks or so. So
a new role for you.
We're making some
Congratulations. Change. Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Electrovaya, that's ELECTROVAYA, electrovaya.com. I'll put a link on Raj's show notes page. Check them out. They're moving us all into the future. And you mentioned Jason Roy. I want to do a shout out. Thank you to Jason for introducing me to you, Raj. Nice job, Jason. Raj, thanks for being so generous today with your time and expertise and giving us a peek into the future, which is very cool. Until you and I talk again, my friend, I'll see you down the road.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome. This was fun.
Thank you so much for joining us on today's ride here at Cars Yeah. Drive on over to carsyeah.com to find show notes and inspiring automotive fun. Download your free copy of Filler Up, a fun book filled with gorgeous photographs of fuel filler fun, including quotes from more inspiring automotive enthusiasts. Download your copy today, and we'll see you next time on Cars Yeah.